Then he heard a sound like the quiet flapping of wings, and then, in the twilight, a circle of flying creatures began to fly around the young man. Owls! Lee counted 7 owls. Circling and circling and then coming to light on the ground surrounding the boy completely, the owls, one by one, began to bow before him. As if a light was coming on in his mind, Lee suddenly recalled, after all these years, what he had strained to recall from somewhere deep in the recesses of his mind. His royalty and his adventures, and the reality of Bren. "Hooty-hoo-hoo! We need you!" hooted the owl directly in front of him. Immediately, Leonelus said, "Ollie? Is that you?" "Hooty-hee-hee! Of course it is me," said the magnificent white bird. Amazed at his ability to remember a lifetime of memories lived out in Bren, and even more amazed that somehow that world had intersected with this world, Leonelus, was dumbfounded. "Dear friend of friends, what is going on here?" asked the befuddled young man. "Bren is in dire need, sire. We have been sent to summon you to Bren." "Bren! The land of my dreams!" exclaimed Lee. "How is everyone? What is the state of the land? How can I help?" "My lord, the future of Bren lies within your wisdom. Apart from you and your intervention, the generations of Bren will cease to exist. And if the generations cease to exist, the land is destined to fall into ruin, and all will be lost," said Ollie matter-of-factly. "Then let us go at once," declared the boy. "I am afraid that cannot be at this time, High King Leonelus. We are but emissaries of the message you yourself sent us to deliver," said the owl. "I myself sent you? How can that be?" asked Lee. "The edict of the king came from you in the land of Bren, saying, 'Now is the time for dreams to meet reality. In order to save the generations of Bren, the boy who is Lee in your world must become one with the man who is king in the world of Bren. You are to wait and watch and listen. You will know the entry point when it has come. Goodbye, good good Leonelus. We must fly," said Olliman. With that, the owls took to the now night sky. The trees again began to sway as the symphonic melody of all of creation began to fill the night air once again. Lee never forgot that night and began to live with great anticipation and expectation of going back to Bren. Armed now with the vivid memory of each adventure he had longed to remember for years now, his anticipation began to wear thin with each day that passed without finding the entry point to Bren. Week after week, the summer nights began to grow short as the autumn approached. Week after week, Lee searched high and low for the way back to Bren. Finally, in frustration, he stopped looking and began to think he might have imagined that night with the owls, and the signs he had seen up to that night. Then, after weeks upon weeks of hoping, Lee's mind needed a break. Picking up his fishing pole and tackle box, he drove his dad's pickup to Shale Pit for an after-school fishing expedition. Rigging his pole and casting it into the deep, clear waters, his mind began to ease, and a sense of relaxation and freedom began to flow through the courses of his entire being. Like perfect peace, actually. He soon forgot about the sadness of missing the entry point to Bren. And then he saw something that caught his attention. Coming from the opposite bank of the shale pit was a faint glimmer of light, as if something shiny was reflecting the fading rays of sunshine peering over the western bank of the pit. Resting his now reeled-in pole on the ground, he slowly made his way around the massive pit, trying his best to keep his eye fixed on the gleam of the object now teasing him for discovery. Through brambles and low-lying brush, through meandering deer trails, under rocky overhangs, Lee finally made his way to the place where the glint seemed to be coming from. As was the custom among the local boys, Lee realized he was coming up on the rocky outcropping he and his friends called the Dragon's Head. To the local boys, the rock jutting from the side of the former rock quarry resembled the head of a roaring dragon, complete with gaping jaws and menacing teeth. Walking around the dragon's head and to the sunny side, he saw what had been causing the gleam. There, as if severing the head of the dragon, was a sword, and not just any sword. It was the sword of High King Leonelus. Something deep inside of the boy Lee began to stir. Suddenly, impressed from some deep, primal place in his soul, Lee felt compelled to place his hands on the sword. Just as he did, the world exploded with thunder and lightning as Leonelus heard the words, "Now, Leonelus,